already picked out the girl he wanted to marry, but in deference to his father, he accepted Radharani Datta, although he wasn't attracted to her at all. But then Gormahan will preach to him, and we'll hear about that. During his 4th year churches, Abai began to feel reluctant about accepting. As a sympathizer to the nationalist cause, he preferred national schools and self-government over the British institutions, but he could see that as yet no such alternatives existed at that time. They only had the British schools to go to. Gandhi, however, was calling on Indian students to forsake their studies. The foreign-run schools, he said, instilled a slave mentality. They made one no more than a puppet in the hands of the British. Still, a college degree was the basis of a life's career. Abai weighed the choices carefully. Because Mahatma Gandhi was going all over the country, and he was saying, the cloth, the taxes, the education, all their laws. So he was saying nonviolent, but when the people did it, the British very, very strictly came down and started to kill people. So the Surendranath Banerjee, he said that Gandhi's principle was just magic. It had no logic. Because whenever he tried, the British would just come and stop the protests by killing the people. That's all. So these radicals were not in favor of Gandhi's non-Prabhupada was hearing in his college days. So he began to think that maybe I should do what's right according to Gandhi's message. Gormahan didn't want Abai to do something he would later regret. He had always tried to plan the best for his son. But Abai was 23 now and would have to. So he was married at 21, 1918. He was born 1896. And then he wasn't in favor of the marriage, but one day he was going on just riding his cycle, and Radharani's father captured him and brought him for the marriage. So it wasn't his idea at all. And then Prabhupada gave an example. I explained this in the Hindi class 2 weeks ago. He gave the example of Tulsidas, because Tulsidas was also married at a very early age. But he was very attached to his wife. And the system always that you go back to the girl would go back to the father's house for part of the year, at least 6 months out of the year. But every time the father came, Tulsidas would say, next time, next time, next time. He wouldn't let his wife leave because he was so attached to her. He loved her so much. So finally an arrangement was made, and she left with her father in the morning. And that evening, Tulsidas came to the father's house to take her home. So, just like husbands and wives, they fight. She said, what kind of a man are you? You can't live without me? If you were so attached to Ram, then you would become a great devotee. And Tulsidas had always tried to plan the best for his son. But at 23, and would have to make this decision for himself. Gormahan thought of the future. The horoscope said that his son would be a great religious preacher at age 70, but Gormahan did not expect to live to see it. Still, he had every reason to accept the horoscope as accurate, and he wanted to prepare Abai. He tried to plan things accordingly. But there was no way to guess what Krishna would do. Everything depended on Krishna, and Krishna was above nationalism. With the ordeal of final examinations behind him, he took a short vacation. To fulfill a long-cherished desire, he traveled alone a day's journey by train to Jagannath Puri. So next week we'll hear about Prabhupada's trip to Jagannath Puri, and his realizations there. Hare Krishna. Jai.